Hey guys, Sean T. Phillips here with my May 30th DVD update, where I talk about all the DVDs and Blu-rays I've gotten over the last 2 weeks or so. Like I always say, guys, if you enjoy these updates, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Leave me comments below what you guys thought of the titles I reviewed in this update. Any titles coming up that you guys would like me to review for future updates, and what some of the things you guys have picked up recently are. Now, the first two that I got from Shout Factory, Scream Factory line were ones that I was so happy, when I saw these were announced, because they put out the first movie. I was hoping that they were going to put them out. I was hoping, too, they were going to be single editions, because so they would have, their own artwork on them. The guy who did the artwork for the first movie Blu-ray release, did the artwork on these ones as well. Really great, commissioned artwork for these. I really love that Shout Factory is continuously doing these with the Scream Factory releases. To me, it's a real throwback to the VHS era when they would always have, drawn covers for movies. And to me, I think there's something really cool about that. Now, the second movie, though, was with the Angela character, and this one, she goes back to camp, and she ends up being a counselor. And, at the camp, she's going around, killing people that have kind of done wrong things that she doesn't like, and it's basically, she's nuts because she, I don't want to ruin anything if people haven't seen the first movie, because I don't want to spoil anything, because there's certain details that would be totally ruined if I talk about it. I feel like there's some people who haven't seen the first one, but it's basically her going back to camp, though, and killing people. But it has on here, though, first of all, too, the transfer on both of these is great transfer, the best these movies have ever looked. It has on here, too, one thing I loved, they, Adam the Woo, who's been in one of my videos, they have the video of him going to the location where Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 was filmed, showing them what they look like now, and they're real dilapidated, and the pool is growing all this moss in it. It's a total disaster. The whole place is a mess. But it has on here, too, commentary tracks with the director. Always been a fan of the director, especially the movie he did as well that I love, Funland. Really cool, weird movie about a guy who goes crazy at a theme park. Another one, if you guys haven't seen that, check that out. Hopefully down the line, a company like Scream Factory puts that out, because that one needs a good transfer. But it has on here, too, behind-the-scenes footage with the commentary with the director as well, and, a featurette on the making of both the movies and some interviews with some of the cast members. And then video promos and more. The third one is with the Angela character, and this time she ends up going to camp as goes back and actually plays a, student at the camp, because she ends up killing this girl in the beginning of the movie who has a tattoo of milkshake. Always a very thing that I even know somebody had a tattoo of that. They actually really did. But the movie, though, is her going back to camp this time, and I believe they shot them both back to back or right around the same time. But this one, though, is her back at camp, killing off people when they go off on an overnight trip. I love this one. This one is just a really fun movie. The guy in this, too, plays this pervy camp counselor who was in the opening of House of a Thousand Corpses. Always loved that guy. Little dick quick, play with his prick, don't the smell make you sick? That guy. He's in this, and he's great, and he's kind of hitting on all the students. These are just such fun movies. This has on here, too, commentary track, behind-the-scenes footage, and also has a rough cut, extended cut of the movie, kind of like the cut when they were putting together the movie. So, the raw, footage and stuff like that with different things and longer takes and stuff like that. It was pretty cool to see that. Also has deleted scenes of the extra gore footage as well. Like I said, though, if you guys don't have these movies, definitely check these out. I mean, you wouldn't, because these are brand new releases, but definitely upgrade these ones on Blu-ray. Look great, and, ones to me, too, if you're a fan of slasher movies, ones you've got to see. The next one, I don't think I had ever seen this before. This is Scarecrows. This is from Scream Factory as well. I think I remember seeing the cover of this one, because there was a couple other Scarecrow movies, that one, the Dark Knight one, I can't remember, I always forget the name of it, but the guy who was in Dr. Giggles was in that one. But this one, though, is basically about this group of these people who ended up stealing some money, and the one guy ends up parachuting off of the plane and drops down in this weird field where there's all these scarecrows everywhere. And the second he gets down there, the other people who are up there, are kind of talking on the radio a whole lot. And he's down there, they're going, "We're going to find you," because he has a great headset on so he can hear them going, "We're going to find you, we're going to get you." He starts hearing all kinds of talking and stuff going on, and then basically, though, this scarecrow is going around killing people, and there's also someone that was kidnapped. It's kind of an odd story. There's a whole lot of weird things going on, but it's all kind of set in the field, and it has this kind of weird feel to it. It kind of feels like almost like an episode of Tales from the Dark Side or something like that kind of a vibe to it, almost like a extended episode of that. And that's pretty much what it is. But it has on here, a new commentary and then a bunch of, interviews with the one guy who was one of the leads and producers of this. It was a pretty interesting interview to him talking about the making of this and how they did it. The guy was also in one, like, Bikini Swamp Monsters recently, I believe, which I really liked that, a really weird B movie. But this is just a really fun, killer scarecrow movie. Looks really good. Definitely check that one out. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people probably have not seen this one, and I didn't even realize that it never had, because they talk about it, never had a theatrical release. The next one from Warner Brothers, and this one has got like a mixed opinion. It's got really mixed reviews. Wachowskis lately have gotten really mixed reviews of their movies. I really love Cloud Atlas, but this is their new one, Jupiter Ascending, with Mila Kunis and Channing Tatum. And Mila Kunis is basically someone who's on Earth, who's like a cleaning lady. And she pretty much, finds out, she gets kind of taken up into space and finds out that she's actually a princess. And that's pretty much what it is. It's like these characters that are kind of coming after her and trying to get her. And because, basically, then the one guy, Freddie Highsmore, I think that's how you say it, he's like, I own the Earth. The Earth is mine, and you cannot own the Earth because I own the Earth. I mean, some of the acting was sort of cheesy and a little over the top with it, but to me, I like it. I like the Wachowskis movies. I like their vibe. They're kind of movies, too, you have to really think about. And I kind of like those movies where you sort of think about them. They have like a lot of like layers to them. It's a little bit more. This one has a bit more of a slightly more mainstreamish vibe than some of their other movies. It's one of their first PG-13s. I mean, they did Speed Racer, which was PG, but most of their movies are usually R-rated. But this one, I don't know if it was shot to be R-rated and then maybe it was cut a little bit. But it has on here, though, a bunch of, making of features on the movie. But I like this movie. It looks really cool in 3D. Just a really cool outer space movie, with all the kind of stuff that's going on up there. Like I said, I really like this. Like I said, it's not everyone's cup of tea, though. The next one, this one was okay. This is Will Smith in Focus with Margot Robbie, who's going to be, in playing Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad movie. So I'm really looking forward to that. Not super excited about Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't feel like everyone's super excited about that, but I really like Jared Leto though as the Joker. But this one is Will Smith and Margot Robbie in Focus. And Will Smith is basically like a king con man with like being able to trick people into things and stealing people's watches and all that kind of stuff and figuring out how to rob people without them knowing and sleight of hand and all that kind of stuff. And Margot Robbie in the beginning of the movie is like basically trying to seduce Will Smith, and he knows the whole time that it's a con and a plan. He just sort of goes with it just to see what happens. And then she tries to steal money from him and it doesn't. And it fails, and then he ends up kind of becoming friends with her and sort of taking him under his wing and teaching her the tricks of how to steal and how to pickpocket people and how to con and all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much what it is. It kind of like, I lost sort of interest in it like halfway through it, and then I sort of wasn't super interested in it anymore. I mean, I liked the kind of build-up when they were doing that kind of stuff, but overall it wasn't super interested on here. But it has on here some featurettes and some deleted scenes. But it was an okay one. The next one, this is one I saw in theaters as well. This one, I love these kind of like movies where it's about changing the past. And like, if you change it, things go wrong, and then one thing leads to another, and there's another issue. And I'm always like into that kind of idea, about, if I would go back in time, I would do this, and I'd change that. Not much about myself. Maybe I'd tell myself to lose weight earlier. But like certain people, maybe I'd try and save people and things like that. That's probably what I would do, is try and save people. But the movie, though, is Project Almanac, and it's this kid whose father, vanished off the face of the earth years ago, and he ends up, his whole life not knowing where he is, and then he ends up discovering these plans for this machine that the father had created, which is basically a machine to go back in time, and he also can travel around with the thing. But it's basically him and his friends make this machine with the plans, and they start going and changing things, like trying to win the lottery and doing things, and then he changes things to try and get with this girl that he likes, and then if characters find out about it, but then when he changes it, something in his life gets really screwed up. Like at some points things go right, and things with his family life get better, with his mom and her job and things like that. Then other times he changes one other thing, and then the mom's doing something different, or the friend is doing something like different, and someone's gone missing. To me, like I said, if you like that kind of movie, this is one of my top ones in this update, for a newer movie. I really, really like this one. It has on here, though, alternate opening and deleted scenes and alternate endings. Just a really, really cool one. It has on here, too, $10 movie card as well. The next one is the new SpongeBob movie. And I don't know if there's a 3D edition of this one or not. I know it was in 3D, though. This is SpongeBob the movie, Sponge Out of Water. But this is basically, Plankton, wants to steal the Krabby Patty recipe from the Krusty Krab. Finally ends up stealing the Krabby Patty recipe. But, attempting to. But then this evil pirate on the top of the water. It wasn't played by Tom Kenny, though. It was Antonio Banderas. I'm surprised they didn't have Tom Kenny, because he always was kind of playing the pirates in this show. But, he ends up getting the plans, and he goes to this, basically because he wants to have the Krabby Patty, to have his restaurant, on this ship that he has, and take it to L.A. and things like that. But it's basically the SpongeBob characters getting out of water to go after him and try and get the recipe back. It's not, the out of water stuff isn't as much as you would think. It's like the last, maybe 30 minutes. It's not the whole movie out of the water like that. I actually like the animated stuff, but thought the stuff, though, out of water was actually pretty well directed. It's kind of fun, too, because it was kind of just sort of silly stuff going on. I like this movie. I have not watched the show of SpongeBob in a really long time, but I've watched the movie, and, I think occasionally I've seen the new ones. I don't even know. I guess it's still on new episodes. I don't know for certain. But it has on here, though, some sing-along music videos and some featurettes from the movies and deleted extended scenes. It's just a really cool, fun movie. The next one, this is a great movie. I watched this again last night for the first time in a long time. And Arrow, this is an absolutely amazing set. The artwork on this thing, I hope they do more like this, because I'm really interested in seeing what other kinds of super special editions they do like this. And this is Society, which is a really great movie. I'm not going to ruin certain things about this movie, but look at the artwork on this thing, and the spine. Just really, to me, this is one of the coolest Blu-rays I really have ever seen. And it has on here a graphic novel about the movie, like a Society graphic novel in here, which is pretty cool. And then it has, a card, but then, I don't think there's anything that I can't show in this, but, a booklet about the movie, with interviews and things like that. But, and I'll show you the discs as well. But inside, too, look at the case. It's so, to me, like I said, this is so cool. This is the cover they used on a German Blu-ray release. It was released on German, but to me, this transfers way better. And the German one did not have, as I remember, it didn't have any new features at all. But this one, though, is basically, though, the movie is about this kid who lives in Beverly Hills, and his family is super rich, and he doesn't get along with the family at all. They're very strange. They're kind of looking down on him the whole time, treating him really weird, and every time he says something, they're kind of turning their head at everything he wants to do. They don't like what he's interested in, and he's sort of seeing this therapist guy, and the therapist guy is real ass. He's real weird, going, "Wow, you have to do what's right for society. You have to learn to fit in the grasp of society. Sometimes you don't want to do something, but it doesn't matter, because you have to do what's right for you in society." And that's basically what he's always giving these lectures, and these weird lectures. But the kid, though, starts noticing things, and the sister's old boyfriend is lurking around, sneaking around, saying, "I gotta tell you something. I discovered these weird things. I heard these weird things. You gotta listen to this tape. Your family's doing some weird stuff, this incest, these kind of things going on. There's really weird stuff. You've got to hear this." Of course, he hears this, and he notices something's very strange about this family. And the best stuff is at the end of this movie, what happens. I'm not going to say anything about what happens, but it's amazing, amazing transfer in this movie. Has on here interviews with the cast. The one main guy inside, he looks not much older at all than he did back then. He's they got the fountain of youth, that guy. But he's talking about, the movie, and he's talking about how he went to the premiere, and there was some really interesting stuff. And then they have the effects guy, and then the director as well, and then a little cool interview. I really liked the director talking backstage before the premiere about horror and how it gets a bad rap, and it was a really cool 2-minute piece, and I really agree with what he was saying about horror movies. But definitely check this one out. Really cool limited edition from Arrow Video US. Like I said, these are Arrow Video US titles. The next one from Arrow Video US, and this one's got people give this a lot of mixed opinions. And it's a weird movie, but I've known of this weird movie since 2002, maybe. I saw this, when it first came out on DVD. I always liked this movie, and I always kind of remembered the end of this movie, and I kind of thought it was these other movies. And it wasn't. I thought it was Grapes of Death, and it wasn't. But this movie is Island of Death, really weird movie. It's about this couple who go on a trip to the Greek islands, and it kind of starts off like it's just these regular couple going on this trip, and they're just going out there to take pictures and things like that. Then you come to find out that they're basically thrill killers, and this is like the kind of movie that would have inspired like Natural Born Killers, like the early days of these kind of movies. But they go out there and they're basically going around killing people, and like that, but they're sleeping with them too, and sleeping with each other, and the one guy does a thing with a goat, and it's very strange. I love the one character though whose house that they stay in. That was my favorite character in this movie, and it has like one of the earliest like gay wedding scenes too. It's like a way ahead of its time movie, because before this is like I think they even said that in the interviews. It was the first time they ever had that I think in a movie, but really really cool movie. But like I said, a lot of people will be grossed out and think it's kind of weird, but once you get through it, it's like this is kind of cool, weird movie, and it really is. It drags a little bit at the end, but I love this movie. It has on here though a bunch of new features and going back to like where this was filmed, and I think that was the main thing on here, and then alternate opening titles as well. But definitely check this out. It also has this really cool reversible artwork that I really like. It's weird. See, this one is the reversal artwork, and here's a look at the discs. But I don't want to show in the booklet because I think there was a slight bit of nudity in the booklet. But definitely check this out, though. Like I said, go into this movie knowing that it's a very very weird movie and different and kind of gross, but don't expect like a real normal movie. The next one from Black Fawn Distribution is Horsehead. It's one I heard a lot about. Really cool trailer for this movie. It's a French film, but it's in English, though. And this movie, though, is about this girl who found out that her grandmother died, goes to the house to see her parents she hasn't seen in years, and it's kind of all about dreams, and like really weird dreams, and she's always kind of had weird dreams and things like that. And as soon as she gets there, she starts to kind of like having all these kind of weird visions and seeing weird things, and all these weird things are happening. Really has the vibe of like a Suspiria kind of movie, and like an Italian movie, like with the imagery and the weird stuff she's seeing. But she gets there, seeing all these weird things, and like doctors are coming around, giving her these pills, and seeing her parents saying weird stuff, and it's just basically that's what it is. It's trying to figure out what all this stuff is and what all this means, and all these visions that are happening. This is a really limited edition Blu-ray, though. It's they only made 500 of this one. I think the DVD is normal, like not limited, but it has on here a 58-minute making of about the movie as well, and then the bonus soundtrack. But this is a cool, very very visual movie. Cool scenes in like the tub and the water and stuff like this. The next one from Art Exploitation Films. This was amazing. This movie. This is not going to be everyone's cup of tea movie, but this was really, really cool. This is called Der Samurai, so, The Samurai. It's a German film. I believe it's a German film. And it's basically, though, about this guy in a dress going around, because in the beginning of the movie there's this guy who's this cop who puts out meat and stuff because he believes there's like a wolf going around and kind of messing with the people who are in the neighborhood and stuff like that. And he kind of doesn't want to kill the wolf or anything like that, so he feeds the wolf and hopes that will keep him away from the people. And then at one night he ends up discovering this character who's kind of going around wrecking havoc and things like that, wearing this dress, and he ends up getting a call from someone saying, I believe, he got a package of the movie, and the guy's like, I believe you have my package. And it's, he brings it to the guy who's out in the middle of nowhere in this weird shack that he's sort of squatting in, and it's a samurai sword. Then he's going around killing people with his sword, and he's sort of the cops chasing after the guy, and the one guy's sort of in love with him. Like, it was a really, really cool, weird movie that I really would recommend. It's not, like I said, it's not going to be everyone's kind of movie. It's like a real ultra-violent kind of movie. It has on here, though, a commentary and then behind-the-scenes featurette. But definitely check this out. It's a really cool one. The next one is another one I really like. I like the art exploitation releases of these things. And this one is House of 1,000 Eyes. House of 100 Eyes. Not House of that. Yeah. And this one, though, is like a movie about, and it's kind of reminded me of like People on the Stairs a little bit, the couple, because it's like a Molly and Daddy type character, in that movie. But it's like a husband and wife who are basically making a documentary for making a snuff film, and they have like a network of people that are buying them from this. So kind of like talking to the audience, going, we're making this for you, and this is what we're going to do, and we're going to have a triple murder, and it's kind of the couple going around trying to find people to get them to come back and basically make them think that they want to make a porno and film them, and then their plan is to kill them. So it's like them trying to find people, and eventually when they get them back there, what they do, and it's a real twisted, weird movie, and it plays out pretty real. Like it's actors. I knew it was actors because the one girl in this, was in Witch's Brew, so I'm like, oh yeah, I knew that. But so if you didn't, you might fully believe it. But the director of this did a couple other things. He did the one movie, Kill Alice, was another really cool one that I really liked. This has on here a scissor reel, gag reel, and a commentary. But this is a cool kind of, also has a vibe of sort of Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer a little bit. The next one from MPI, and this is from Gorgon Video, is Bonnie's Kids and the Centerfold Girls. This is a double feature one. The main one on here that I want to talk about, though, was the Centerfold Girls, and this is basically this guy who's like a real kind of like Christian-y type guy who's like against like sinners and things like that. And he's going around and has like a book of centerfolds, and he's like got all these girls that like their faces like arrows on them and things like that because he wants to kill them. So it's basically him going from place to place, finding these girls and killing them. So it's like a different story. One is a girl at a cabin, and there's this house, and there's like these weird kind of like swingery types that come there. And that was the best story because it kind of had like a Last House Left vibe, and they were acting so strange, these people, and they were really odd looking, some of them. That I liked the best, but there was like him going from one to another, and then there was another group of girls who were out by the beach and, taking pictures for like a Playboy kind of magazine spread. I don't know, these were pretty cool ones. It has on here, though, looking back at the Centerfold Girls and looking back on Arthur's Girls. But these are, and really, really good transfers of these as well. The one guy who did the other one that they put out before as well. The next one, this is one that going into this, I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to think, because I didn't know much at all about this. And this is from, Accelerator Media. And I was really surprised with this one and really liked this one. And this is Time Lapse. And this is basically a group of these friends, their neighbor in their apartment complex dies. And they go into his apartment, and they find that he has this weird kind of camera in there that's focused on their apartment building, focused in their room. And there's all these pictures of them on the wall. They come to find out that this picture thing has a way to see into the future. So you kind of, in the beginning I had a hell of a time, I won't lie, trying to figure out how looking in the future worked. And then I figured it out. But it's kind of like they take a picture every day of them standing there, and then like they put a thing up of like stats and stuff like that. I don't want to try and explain it because I understood it, but I don't know how to explain it. But they were putting these things up on the wall and eventually like winning money and stuff like that, doing races. But then like the bookie guy ended up finding out about it, and then things got really bad. And it was kind of about things start to go wrong, and they have to do things a certain way. But it was just a cool, like kind of, I guess like, not really time travel, but kind of looking into the future kind of movie. And it was all kind of in the one setting, but there was some cool stuff too. The one guy, he didn't really have any part in it. He was real quick. The guy who was in like the Indiana Jones movies. But he was like the guy who died, and you find him dead in the beginning, like in this weird kind of fallout shelter room, all like dusted up and weird looking. I don't know, I liked this movie. I thought it played out really good. I thought it was pretty good actors. One actress was from the the Friday the 13th remake. The next one from Freestyle Media is Zombievers. Zombievers. And I talked about this a while back as well. The UK release of this one. I think the new feature on this one, I'm pretty certain, is the one looking at the cameos in this movie and a commentary track. But this is about a group of friends that go down to the lake, and there was like this chemical that got into the lake, and all the beavers out there are going crazy and turn into zombies. And there's the group of these 3 girls there, and then the boyfriends come along, and they get kind of attacked and killed by these, getting attacked by these beavers. And if you get bit by the beaver, you kind of turn into a crazy beaver as well. But it's a really fun, kind of has a vibe of like a trauma movie. Thought it was really pretty good acting too, and also just really fun, like sort of silly throwback effects. And also I love the opening montage in this, like the opening credit sequence, kind of is like the Cabin Fever 2, but done way, way better. And it has, like I said on here, it has the making of as well, and the new commentaries and alterations as well. The next one from Anchor Bay, and this is the sequel to Monsters. So I saw this one a while back and I think I remembered liking it, but I really don't remember. But this one is Monsters of Dark Continent, and this is from Anchor Bay, and a lot of people say though, oh, this is sort of just like a war movie, but with the monsters kind of in the background, and that's sort of what it was. It was kind of just like a regular kind of army movie about people getting sent into Iraq on a mission, but in the background of it there was monsters there kind of getting in the way, and you kind of saw them. Really was cool effects on the monsters and really looked cool, but it was one movie I just really couldn't get into it too much. It was kind of a little long, but like I said, it was more of just like a war movie of them going in there trying to get this mission, and then problems that were happening there, and then the creatures around, and then the creatures kind of got them a little bit, but it wasn't like a whole lot of the creatures. Like I said, they were just sort of there a bit, but it was shot really well and looked really cool and everything, just wasn't super interesting. The next one from Freestyle Digital Media as well is The Sisterhood of the Night. This is kind of an odd movie to explain. Cal Penn is in this movie. He's like the guidance counselor, but it's like these girls at school that kind of get together and kind of form this kind of sort of cult of them kind of together, and like what they do, and they don't want to talk about what they do, and they kind of have a vow of silence about it. But then the one girl at the school that really doesn't like them kind of goes and spreads these rumors about the cult and their group, and really more of just like a group, them just doing stuff, and says that they did like bad stuff to her, and their sexual things and all kinds of weird stuff. She says all this kind of stuff, and then the people at the school are talking about it, and it's caused like a huge uproar, and it's kind of like, unless they say like a modern Salem Day witch trial thing, and that's sort of what it was. And then like they just keep saying worse things about them, and spreading these things around, and it was okay. I kind of was losing interest in some of it though. It just wasn't perfect. The one actress in this was from the Chronicles of Narnia movies, and I think she was in the movie with Abigail Breslin as well. They had like a similar cover. It was okay, just kind of odd, and Cal Penn just seemed slightly out of place to me, just a little bit. The next one from Freestyle as well is Hayride 2, and I started watching this, I'm like, I can't remember if I watched the first movie, and I kind of want to watch that one because it seemed like it was more like an actual hayride kind of theme park thing, but I don't think I did. I thought I did, but I don't think I did. But it's about this kind of killer, legend of this killer out in these cornfields. Is wearing this kind of sack on his head and killing people with a pitchfork. But it's the survivors from the first movie who end up in this hospital, and they believe that the killer was killed in the first one. He's coming after them. I don't think it matters if you saw the first one though, because it kind of recaps it in the beginning. And I thought it was a pretty decent recap though, showing what happened. But, he ends up eventually coming down to where the hospital is and coming after them. And it's kind of about them in the hospital and then what happens with him going after them. There were some pretty decent kills in this movie. It kind of has a vibe of like Rob Zombie's Halloween remake to it a little bit. It has on here in the trailer as well. And also pretty decent production values on this one. The next one from Fox is Turbo Fast Season 1. And I think I've seen the Turbo movie, but this is the TV series of this, and this is basically, I believe it was for Netflix. I was reading into this. It was a Netflix series, and this one has, all the 26 episodes, 9 hours of them. I started watching through these ones. It's a pretty fun show. The animation, though, in the original was more of like a CGI computer animation. The animation in this one is more of a flash kind of animation. It's decent animation, not perfect, though, but it's basically about the character from the first movie. And, his owner ends up building this whole kind of big land for all the snails to live in, and they kind of have a racetrack there. And it's kind of like that Hanna-Barbera show where every episode is like them racing, and it's like different characters and villains that kind of come in that they race with, and they're training and things like that. It's a fun show. It's way more of a show for kids, though. The next one are a bunch of exploitation films, blaxploitation films from Olive Films, and it's Foxy Brown, which is Foxy Brown's getting revenge for her boyfriend, who was killed, who's like a government official, and she goes and gets revenge. And the character in this I love was the brother. Oh, first I'll say too, the transfer on these are all really, really good transfer, but she's going and getting revenge for them. The other one is Hammer, which is a Fred Williamson film, who was basically in this one though, he's a boxer who wants to told to fix this fight, and it basically what ends up happening, and all these kind of mob after him and all kinds of problems, and they're saying they're going to kill his wife. These are just really, really fun movies. Coffee, and this one is a vigilante Pam Grier is playing a vigilante in this one who's going and getting revenge of the people who hooked her sister on drugs. And like they said, these are just really fun movies. And the last one is Friday Forrester, and this is, I said Pam Grier as well, who's a photojournalist, and her boss is always saying, you're going to get in trouble trying to do all this stuff and going undercover and getting all these pictures and things like that. Eventually, she ends up witnessing this attempted murder, and then the people are coming after her, and all these kind of problems that are going on. And the last one from Olive Films as well, and this is a really fun movie with Meryl Streep and Roseanne Barr, and I can't remember if I saw this before or not. And this is She-Devil, and this is Roseanne, and Ed Begley Jr. is in this as well. And her husband is basically meets Meryl Streep's character at this party, and Meryl Streep is this really famous writer. She has romance novel writer, and she has all this money. And Ed Begley Jr. ends up meeting her and driving her home because she has to get home. Something happens at the party, but then they end up kind of falling in love and having this secret relationship. And Roseanne's character finds out about this, and basically he leaves her, and then Roseanne is doing anything she can to kind of make his life miserable. She wants to drop the kids off there. She burns down her house, and then she kind of disappears, and she's kind of in the background planning all these things to kind of ruin his life and ruin their life. This is a really, really fun movie. Another really good trance from this as well. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray update video, guys. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.